Welcome, guys. Got a huge episode here for you. We're doing a fantasy football mock draft and solving the first 3 rounds. I'm going to help you guys draft the first 3 rounds perfectly and properly and correctly, because there's so much bad information going on with the first 3 rounds, or even in general. I want to fix that for you. All this talk about zero RB, all this talk about drafting wide receivers early, waiting on running backs, that seems to be what the mainstream Chiefs' narrative is. I'm going to debunk that and give you guys the truth so you can actually win your leagues. Now, if you guys are in the car, I'm going to walk through the first 3 rounds in detail for you. If you guys are watching on YouTube, very, very important episode. Tons of information, tons of facts, tons of actual information that's going to help you guys win. Now, the reason I'm doing this particularly and solving the first 3 rounds for you, and I've done this before, but I'm going to dive in more detail. And as we're close to the season, there's more information that's happened now. As we get closer, injuries have happened, more has happened, so we're close to the season. The reason I'm doing this, guys, it's very, very important that you understand the reasoning here, is because I did a poll. I questioned you guys. I said, what is one of your biggest fantasy football draft concerns? And you guys said it's those early precious picks. Let's figure out who those early precious picks are. So I'm going to solve that for you guys right here. I'll give you guys all the information. Now, that isn't the only thing. You guys have to have that optimal roster. Now, in this mock draft, I'm going to give you guys, to regular subscribers, everything for you guys in the first 3 rounds to solve them. But if you want the full draft solution, get 16 rounds, guys. That's going to give you guys a light years ahead advantage. If this is making sense to you, even if it's not, get 16 rounds, because that will help you guys. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I used to have that cough syrup that tasted really bad. I knew it didn't taste good, right? But it was good for me. Same type of thing, right? Maybe some of this stuff doesn't make sense to you. Maybe I'm fading players that you like, but it's good for you, because at the end of the day, you're going to have as close to a bulletproof roster as possible. So buckle up, guys. Grab a tea, grab a coffee, grab a Red Bull. I don't care what you're grabbing here, whether you're in the car. Buckle up, whether you're listening in the car or watching. This is very vital information, because everything else is being put out there is not good for you. You know, it's not going to help you guys win your league. So I'm excited to dive into the first 3 rounds and solve them to you guys properly. And we're drafting from the first overall position. We're drafting at 101, but I'm going to walk through how to draft from every position here, what the best position is to draft from, and everything you need for the first 3 rounds. This is a very important show. And again, get that 16-round draft solution. Use code TUBE20, save yourself 20%. That's TUBE20, save yourself 20% at 60. Just Google 16-round draft solution, okay? Go get it. And this show is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Upon checkout, use code SHOWERLINE20. In my hand, I've got the amazing underwear, which I'm wearing right now. Guys, amazing product. The packaging is phenomenal. When you put them on, guys, you don't even want to take them out of the packaging. It's so nice. But when you put them on, they're super comfortable, guys. Try the Boxers 2.0, manscaped.com, Showerline 2020. Showerline 20 is the code. Now, again, try their body wash. Try their shampoo. They've got deodorant. You can smell fresh. Try their Lawnmower 4.0 so your balls are trimmed and nice, and then they're fitted in these Boxers 2.0. Upon checkout, use code Showerline 20. Save yourself 20%. I've also linked the code here. You can see it throughout the show here on the screen, okay? Showerline 20 is the code. Manscaped.com. All right, let's dive into this mock draft. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, thumbs up, and let me know what you think. So, I just did a post here on my Insta. If you're not following my Insta, go to Fantasy Football Counselor. Make sure you're following Insta. I just did a post with Derrick Henry. I saw him do a post saying, you know, you guys are crazy passing me up and going zero RB. You got to go robust RB. That is the secret, guys, to win. Why? Because you are securing the most scarce position. It's that easy, guys. The most scarce position on the board is running back. So it's imperative, it's crucial that you guys load up on those running backs early. I'm going to walk through a couple scenarios here where you go zero RB. As you can see, when I go through it, how messy it gets and who the best available running backs are at round 4. Now, some people are going Travis Etienne, who's looking flashy in preseason, or they're going someone like, you know, Antonio Gibson or Miles Sanders as their RB1 after they've gone zero RB. And that is a big time mistake, because those guys are boom or bust and you don't have any depth at running back. So very important you go robust RB. So let's dive into this mock draft. Now, we're going at the 101 here, but again, we're going to walk through in detail the first 3 rounds. And again, if you want the full mock drafts, go to 16 rounds, just Google 16 round draft solution and get it. Use code TUBE20, get the solution, guys, if this is making sense to you, which it should, because, common sense quarter here with the counselor. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's go through here, guys. The 101, who do you go with? Now, as you can see here, the Chiefs have it laid out as Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor as the 101. Christian McCaffrey sitting at number 1 here. Now, I have question marks here with Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor. The question mark here with Christian McCaffrey is the guy's played 10 games the past 2 seasons, and he gets a lot of these non-contact injuries, which I think are worse than if you were to go with, full contact injury. Now, I'm a big fan of Drake London, so I may be contradicting myself because it was a contact injury yesterday, but it was a soft contact injury. But at least it was, a contact injury. And, at the time of this recording, I'm still waiting on Drake London verdict. I think it's a minor injury there. So what I'm trying to make is I like wide receivers and running backs that if you're going to get hurt, really get hurt, right? So again, in this case, Christian McCaffrey, non-contact injury, took him out. I don't trust him, okay? Jonathan Taylor, again, regression is happening. I keep seeing Nyheim Hines videos on, the Colts social medias. I love Jonathan Taylor. I'm not saying don't draft him, but literally, guys, I think there's guys with higher ceiling, which we'll go into in a second here. But Jonathan Taylor is due for regression. He's not going to get his 1,800 receiving or rushing yards and 18 touchdowns and 300 plus attempts. It was just such a pinnacle season. The last time anyone duplicated that was Priest Holmes back in 2002, 2003. So really be cautious with him, okay? Again, Austin Eckler had a pinnacle year, 12 touchdowns on the ground. And again, guys in the car, girls in the car, I'm walking through the ADP Consheeps is who they've got queued up here for you to take as the 101. And Eckler and Dalvin Cook can't finish the season to save his life. Guaranteed to miss 3 to 4 games. I don't trust him. He's been paid, incentivized. He's guaranteed to miss time, and I'm not wasting another pick on Madison later. And again, Eckler, 12 touchdowns on the ground, 8 receiving. Not happening again with Isaiah Spiller there, who's going to be stealing that goal line work, okay? So we're looking at Najee and Henry here. Now, either one of these guys I like. Najee's going to get a ton of volume, a ton of upside. And Derrick Henry, again, just came out with that video saying, don't pass up on me. I was on pace to get a 2,000-yard rushing season again. You can't fade me. I still think Derrick Henry has one solid year left in him. And he was putting up top 10 numbers last year based on 8 games that he played. He won't get hurt again this year. Knock on wood, guys. I'm going to do it right now. Knocking on wood here. He's not going to get hurt again. This is his year. It's a bounce back year. He's going to break records. I'm going with Derrick Henry here at the 101. Okay, so let's keep going here. And as you can see, the Consheepses are going to round out the entire first round onto the second round here. So it's going to start picking here until it comes back. So let's walk through the first round here and some options. So what happened here, guys, as the simulator went through this, right? Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor were the top three picks. Obviously consensus, right? Then Cooper Kupp's coming off round 4, round 5. Sorry, pick 4, pick 5. In this case, he came off as pick 4. Again, regression happening for Cooper Kupp. Coming off the Cinderella season, not going to happen again. I don't see it. I'm not wasting a first-round pick on a wide receiver. Eckler, pinnacle season, he's gonna bust. Jefferson's going to be safe and solid. I still won't spend a first-round pick on a wide receiver. I see Najee Harris falling here to 7. And I think Derrick Henry would have fallen to 7, 8, but I picked him up at 101 because I think he's got the highest ceiling. And again, Najee would have been my other option early. Mid-round, you can go Najee and Henry as well. Again, because the Consheepsis guys will come off earlier. So Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp, Austin Eckler, Justin Jefferson, Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook coming off here at the 1-8. Now, Dalvin Cook, I told you, I'm staying away. DeAndre Swift had a good first week preseason. Okay, I get it. But Williams is there, and I don't trust his offense. They did look good. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown as a receiver for value in the 5th round, but I don't like DeAndre Swift as a first-round person who peaked at 151 targets. They split. Him and Williams split last year right down the middle. It's a full-on committee, and he's a pass-catching receiving back. He is not a full workhorse running back. I'm not investing a first-round pick on a guy who I know is not going to be a full workhorse running back. So DeAndre Swift at the 109 is absolutely ludicrous, sitting top 8 amongst consensus rankings in PPR. Ludicrous. Now, Kelsey's coming off very early in drafts here. I see him coming off here at the 1.10. 10th pick overall, very early for me for a tight end, especially when I can get Pitts if I want an upside tight end in round 3. Obviously, Pitts is dealing with a running quarterback. We saw Mariota in week 1 running a lot. Is the volume going to be there for Pitts? Not as safe as Kelsey for sure, but I wait on tight end. I stack 2 later on. Joe Mixon here, I like the value here at 111. If healthy, can produce those top 5, top 10 numbers yet again on a high octane offense. So again, Joe Mixon, I like that. And I like Ja'Marr Chase here at the 112. So Ja'Marr Chase, Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Derrick Henry, and Jonathan Taylor making sense to me in the first round. But again, factor in a regression here for Jonathan Taylor. Christian McCaffrey expensive here. Eckler expensive. Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift won't spend it for first round. Okay. First round solved, guys. Go robust RB. I like Mixon. I like Henry. I like Najee. I like Taylor. And I like Chase if I'm going wide receiver round 1. I just think Chase has the highest ceiling amongst wide receivers. But again, I'm going robust RB. Now, Joe, what do you do in round 2? Let's take a look at the available running backs here. And I will tell you this, guys. His ADP is going up. Saquon Barkley here. As you can see, round 2 is already solved. We're at 212, guys, here on the screen. I would go, the big question is, would you go Saquon round 1? Yes, I would. I would go Saquon round 1 here at the end of the first round. Again, contract year, big time upside, workhorse running back. So yeah, I would go Saquon Barkley here at the end of the first round. So I would probably go Saquon. I'd probably go with Javonte Williams coming here around this turn, or I would go Mixon and Saquon here on this turn if I was near the end. So you've got some options here at the end of first round. Now, Joe, why would I go Javonte if he's in a committee? I'll tell you why. He is slated to be the starter. Melvin Gordon's already banged up in preseason. Melvin Gordon fumbles a lot, and Javonte is the future. Now, last year he had 203 attempts, 4 touchdowns on the ground, and just under 1,000 yards. Javonte's primed for a 1,200-yard rushing season, 10 touchdowns, and at least 220 attempts. So he's got a super safe floor, and I'm going to look to get an RB3 in the third round. So I'm okay with Javonte as my RB2, but again, I will understand that, and I do understand that Melvin Gordon will be a pest. Now, other people are drafting Aaron Jones with confidence, thinking he's the RB1, but he's not. It's contrary, guys. So if you look at Dillon, he outdid him in rushing attempts, rushing touchdowns, and rushing yards last year. Dillon was the RB1 on the roster last year. So why would I invest a second-round pick, an early second-round pick on Aaron Jones, knowing that Dillon is the workhorse there? So I'm seeing, guys, what I'm seeing is Javonte on the rise here, and I'm seeing Aaron Jones on the decline. So you got to look what's trending and aim high on the depth chart. So yes, Aaron Jones is atop the depth chart, but according to last year's stats, isn't it Dillon? He outdid him in 3 categories, very important categories, whether it be that is rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, or rushing attempts. Guys, this is logical stuff, but the consensus are just saying, let's copy, for the most part anyway, let's copy and paste. Now, let's debunk the zero RB strategy where people are saying, wide receivers early. You take a look at Tyreek Hill, guys. You take a look at a guy like Tyreek Hill coming off here in the second round. Devontae Adams coming off here in the second round. These are guys that are literally copied and pasted from last year. They took last year's stats and they're saying, hey, these guys finished on top, predicated on having better quarterbacks, more volume. They're in a new offense with a new quarterback, downgraded quarterback, where there is already wide receiver 1s respectively on those offense. Hunter Renfrow is the wide receiver 1 with the Raiders. He was last year, and he peaked at 128 targets, and he's still there. They've got a wide receiver 1, a trusty wide receiver that Carr, respects. Where you're saying, whoa, hold on a second. Renfrow's not a wide receiver 1. It's Adams now. Is it, though? Is it Adams when that rapport with Renfrow is there? He's going to be a goal line guy, red zone guy. He got, 9 touchdowns last year? And they've got Waller, who's a wide receiver 1, who's a tight end there, who's already got rapport there with Carr and peaked at 145 targets when he was the wide receiver 1 back in 2020. They're still there. So how is Adams going to get 169 targets? Not viable. I'm staying away just for the fact that mathematically it doesn't make sense. So Adams is dead to me when it comes to fantasy football. No, not going to do it. Mathematically doesn't make sense. Now, CeeDee Lamb here, early second, makes sense to me because I think there's a ceiling there and I think there's a void there. I don't even think there's a void there. Factually, there is a void there with Amari Cooper. Now, I do like Jalen Tolbert as a wide receiver sleeper. And again, guys, there is a wide receiver for days. Drake London, if he's healthy after that injury. At the time of this recording, Drake London was banged up. But I love him. He's a wide receiver 1. You got Jerry Jeudy you could take off and be a wide receiver 1. You got Darnell Mooney. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You've got so many wide receiver 1s, guys, that are available after the 4th round that it's ludicrous to go wide receiver. Now, I trust Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 5th round than a Devontae Adams in round 2. Does this make sense, guys? This is what I'm teaching in 16 rounds, whereas everybody's telling you, consensus is telling you, hey guys, just draft on ADP because they finished on top last year, not factoring in a regression. Cooper Kupp, had a pinnacle year, had such an astronomical record year that it's almost impossible to duplicate. It is actually impossible to duplicate. So you're saying, well, Joey had such a pinnacle year, he might have a slight drop off. Guys, he's never achieved these numbers his entire career. What is he going into his 5th, 6th season? Never had these type of numbers. It's not going to happen. New offense, Super Bowl hangover. You got to like skate to where the puck is going to go, not where the puck is, right? Like anticipate, guys, anticipate, right? Think ahead. Right? Project forward. Don't live with the now. Project forward. Right? And this is what I teach in Patreon. Right? We're going to be doing a lot of how-to videos in the Patreon group. Right? If you haven't joined Patreon, patreon.com/FFcounselor for direct access. I've linked it here below as well. If you guys want to win your leagues, guys, you got to think outside the box. Now, let's continue on here. Second round. I'll tell you how second round went. Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams, Deebo Samuel, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley. What a deal for Saquon Barkley. Tyreek Hill at the 2-9, Alvin Kamara 2-10, Leonard Fournette 2-11, and we're at the 2-12. Now, we've got some options here, and I really like the position that we're set here right now, okay? We've got Ezekiel Elliott still on the board. We got Breece Hall still on the board. Now, at the time of this recording, I'm understanding that Zach Wilson's banged up with the knee. I don't know. Let me just check the news here if there's any breaking news on. Oh, here we go. It looks like it's at the time of this recording, you guys are probably listening to the season. This is old news, but Zach Wilson suffered a bone bruise last night. The ligaments are in good shape. Most tests are coming in. A potential meniscus injury to determine a timeline. So, again, I'm not a doctor, but that looks like a 6 to 8 week maximum type thing. And either way, I'm drafting Breece Hall in the 3rd round because I like the upside, I like the ceiling, and I like the fact that the Jets moved up to grab him. Amazing, dynamic player, great receiving threat. It doesn't matter whether Flacco's throwing the ball or Zach Wilson's throwing the ball. I think Flacco throwing the ball would be actually relatively efficient, even no matter how long Zach Wilson's out. So, again, guys, when I look at a guy like Breece Hall, I see a ton of upside, guys. I really, really do. So I would consider going Zeke Elliott here. And then let me take a quick glance at wide receiver. Again, Mike Evans, like give me a Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's primed for targets, round 4 or 5. Get, Pittman round 3, that's expensive. I like Brandon Cooks for more value. I love Davis Mills' efficiency. I think he'll be good, right? There's Metcalf here. There's Mooney. There's, wide receivers, Elijah Moore, Adam Thielen, right? Look at all this value. Drake London, Kirk's, supposed to be a wide receiver 1. Lazard. Treylon Burks could be a wide receiver 1. Guys, there's so much depth at wide receiver. I just gave you a bunch of sleepers, by the way. Again, so I'm going to go running back, and the best available running backs here, I don't trust James Conner. I think he was heavily inflated last year with touchdowns. I do, however, like Zeke Elliott here because I still think he's got a safe floor. I mean, last year, playing with a partially torn PCL, still finished number 7 amongst running backs in PPR. He lacks the ceiling, but has that safe floor. I've got the ceiling with Henry, and I'm going to get the ceiling with Breece Hall. A lot of people ask about David Montgomery. I think Montgomery's safe. I think he's solid. The problem with David Montgomery is I think Herbert's going to be an issue, and I don't know how that offense is going to gel with a running quarterback with Fields. I don't know what to expect with this offense. New coach, new situation, a lot of uncertainty. How much volume is he going to get? And he has injuries here and there. Like all the time, he's off the field for 1 or 2 nagging injuries. Again, I might question what's about Montgomery, but he's still a viable 3rd round, pickup. But I'm going to go here. I'm going to go ahead and draft Zeke Elliott. We got back-to-back, and I like the upside here of Breece Hall because, again, when I look at other options here, you got Mark Andrews, who I think is going to have a great year. You could go Kyle Pitts, and you may want to go Kyle Pitts if it's a 1.5 heavily 1.5 PPR for tight ends, and some leagues are set up like that. You may want to consider him here, okay? So again, I like the running back. I'm not gonna pass up on Breece Hall because he's not coming back. I like the ceiling, so I might go him. Now, Cam Akers is also a huge boom bust here as well. I don't know if I trust him, so I do like the upside of Breece Hall. Again, the only objection is, Joe, how do you like Breece Hall and the Jets? Volume and talent, guys. That's what's gonna happen here. And I've projected based on math, right? Factoring in a regression for Michael Carter off his 147 attempts last year, going to take at least 75 of those away, give them to Breece Hall. And there's a bunch of bottom feeders that had over 120 attempts last year at the running back position. That's all going to go Breece Hall's way. So I'm looking at a floor of 220 rushing attempts, and he's going to get all the goal line work, and he's going to get reception. So I'm going Breece Hall here at number 3. Call me crazy, but that's what I'm going to do here. That's it, guys. Now let's walk through the 3rd round here. That's all I'm going to do here. If you guys want the full mock drafts, everything, guys, get the 16-round drafts. So let's walk through the 3rd round here. So we went Breece Hall at the 301. They went Mark Andrews, Josh Allen, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins. Way too early for T. Higgins. This is a wide receiver 2, everybody. I want to remind you, wide receiver 2. Mike Evans here, Cam Akers, Kyle Pitts, Michael Pittman, Cortland Sutton, A.J. Brown, James Conner. Another situation I don't like is I don't know if I trust Jalen Hurts throwing the ball a lot. Doesn't get me warm and fuzzy. So A.J. Brown in the third round, I'm not excited. And they've got a wide receiver one, Devontae Smith. James Conner there, again, very inflated here, coming off here at the 312. Very inflated in touchdowns. The guy, his pinnacle year was like last year, and he had a good year back, I think, in 2018 with the Steelers because he was a product of the offense, right? D'Angelo Williams, Le'Veon Bell, they all performed similar because the offense was so good. James Conner, I'm not really sold. I don't care if he's a starter, whatever. I don't trust Arizona. I don't trust that offense. Don't trust James Conner to replicate what he did last year as well. But overall here in third round, I do like, Breece Hall, Mark Andrews is good value, I think, because they don't have a wide receiver there. Kyle Pitts, I do like Pittman, although I've been getting Alec Pierce in all my drafts super late for free. I see Cortland Sutton coming off ahead of Jerry Jeudy. Again, you can see here, if I go wide receiver in 4, I still see Jeudy, Mooney. I can stack my 2 wide receivers here, which I won't get into right now in this video. But because we're back at the 412 and 501 here. But again, guys, way too early on these wide receivers as well when I'm getting wide receiver ones after the fact. So you go robust RB no matter where you are, guys, here. Try to stack them. I think Breece Hall would fall here even in the middle. Montgomery's available here. Zeke Elliott typically falls to 3. I like Saquon here at the end of 1 round or early round 2. He kind of fell here at 208. So, guys, the secret here, what did we learn? We learned that we have to go robust RB. Why? Because it's the most scarce position. Why? Because there's only a handful of running backs that have no committees. Why? Because a lot of teams go with the double running back, situation, the 2 running back committee. Why? Because they got suckers for running backs that they need 2 running backs because they suck. They need 2 running backs. They don't have true workhorses. Why? Because I could go on and on. But the point I'm trying to make here, guys, is that you have to go robust RB, and there's only about 8 or 9 running backs that have no committees that are workhorses, and those are the ones you want. You want that guaranteed volume at the running back, and if they get hurt, you've got a backup, and if they get hurt, you get a backup. Now, what do you do later? How many running backs do you have on your team? In a 2 starting running back league, I have a minimum of 5 to 6, always, okay? And if you want all the running back sleepers, join the Patreon group, patreon.com/FFcounselor for direct access. Join the Patreon community. It's called the Fantasy Frontlines, where I give you all the answers and get the 60-round draft session, all right? Does this make sense to you guys? So we learned go robust RB, wide receiver for days. Take that away. Feel comfortable for the first 3 rounds, guys. This was one of your biggest concerns. I solved that for you, all right? Subscribe, thumbs up. Let's dominate fantasy football 2022. Here's an awesome and amazing fantasy football draft strategy for you guys in the first 3 rounds in this fantasy football mock draft. Go use it. All right, guys? Thumbs up. Let me know what you think below. Subscribe. I'm out.